Hello lovelies, welcome to my first video for the month. So back when we got the printables, I was challenged by the lovely Steph to do a wreath layout, and I have to admit I was terrified. Flowers aren't my thing usually, and I have never ever done a wreath layout in my life, and I was very challenged. Let's say I was quite unsure of how I was going to do this, but I'm really glad that she did challenge me to do it, because I never would have chosen to do a layout like this, and I absolutely love how it turned out. So I think every now and then it's really good to be pushed out of your comfort zone. So yeah, maybe every now and then I think it's definitely something you should do. So I decided to start with some watercolor. Now I've used it's meant to be a water reactive graphite pencil, but it didn't really react much with the water. But I've started that as my basis, and then I thought I'd come in with some watercolor. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking, yeah, this ain't working. This is a hot mess. I don't like it. But as I persevere and keep with it, I end up loving it. The water is very important when you're doing something like this. Lots of water. Yes, I'm using my heat gun a lot, paper towel, but it's adding the water and extra layers of the watercolor that really make this work. So I've gone with pinks and yellows, and then when they merge they give me a nice orange, because I'm drawing the colors from the printables, so from those flowers. It took me a long time to cut all those flowers out, I have to admit, but it's such a great layout. I really do love how it turned out. So I decided to go with a small photo. This is a 3x4, and this is my youngest niece. She's just turned 2 months old, and I tend to do albums for my nieces and nephews, and this is probably the first layout I've actually scrapped of Lily's, so I'm a little behind. Are we ever caught up as scrapbookers? Are we ever caught up? I still haven't finished her older sisters, so, you know. Anyway, I just thought it would be perfect for this layout, because I thought I'd be able to nestle this little photo down the bottom here in my little cluster. And I don't know, when I think flowery wreaths, I think girly. So I thought as I'd just taken this photo, this would work quite nicely. So I'm mounting my photo on one of the Project Life cards. I trimmed my photo down a little bit just to give it a little bit more color and a bit of a background. And then I've mounted it on some foam to give me some dimension, because I knew I was going to add a lot of these flowers, some with foam adhesive and some just with glue. And now I'm just going to town. Oh yeah, I have a bit of a glue, whoopsie. So I started with the bigger flowers. Now, like I said, I've never done a wreath layout before, and yeah, I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to work, but I figured I'd start with the bigger flowers and then I'd fill in the little gaps, and I have to admit that worked for me. So I've used all the colors because I felt that blue gave it a really nice little contrast, and with the photo you can see that she's laying on a blue pillow, and yeah, so it really worked, but it gave me such a nice contrast from my background as well. So I'm just picking up random flowers, plonking them in spaces and hoping for the best. It does work quite well. And then I've also, from the foliage cut apart, I've got some of those little berries, and I'm using them to fill in some of those gaps as well, and some of those smaller green fern leaves. And I'm using that just to fill in those little gaps and some of that contrast, for some contrast. So like I said, I started with the bigger flowers. I used foam adhesive for those, and then I tucked in a lot of the smaller flowers under those and all around. So my advice, if I was to give any, don't overthink it. Don't think too much, because it is a wreath and it's, the flowers are everywhere. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and it works. It just works somehow. So because I have that pencil outline there, that sort of gave me the shape I was looking for, which is why I did it. And yeah, so I'm using that as a guide to put my flowers down, and building on that, and also nestling my little photo in there too. So for someone that's never done this before, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to make it look cohesive with my photo there, but in the end, placing my photo there first and then nestling my flowers around it and following that curve really helped. So I'm really proud of myself. I'm using a very small thicker set that I only recently got just to put my title, and I wanted to put it up here just to sort of balance the layout out a bit, and I still wasn't 100% sure if I was going to put flowers up here. To begin with, I was. Then when I put my title down, I'm like, do I need it? And I thought, yeah, like, why not? We got plenty of flowers, let's go for it. So I don't put as many flowers up here. This is sort of my smaller cluster in my little visual triangle, if you want. And it just balances out the layout beautifully. It really does. So once again, I'm following that curve. I'm not adding as much dimension up here, and I'm not straying off that curve or that line as much. I'm just making a nice little cluster with my title, and that's it. Yeah, it really was that simple. Well, okay, it wasn't that simple, but that's really what I did. I did my background, and then I did my flowers, and I'm in love with this layout. I really am. So I'm really glad I was challenged to do this, because I absolutely adore how this turned out, and I think it might be something I would definitely be doing again. So I hope you've enjoyed the layout, and I will be back real soon with a new video. Bye for now.